So, the beauty of our tradition is that a Rishi himself pays respect to other Rishis by saying, Idam Namah Rishibhya Purvajebhya Purvebhya Patikrutbhya. It means like, it's again a mantra given by a Rishi. The Rishi himself is paying tribute to other Rishis, saying that Idam Namah, this salutation, this obeisance to Rishibhya, to the Rishis, Purvajebhya, all those who were born before us, Purvebhya, our forefathers who were the ancient ones, and Patikrutbhya, those who have paved the path for all of us, have shown the path to us. This is what defines who a Rishi is. That the one who has made or created the path for us, or creates the path for us, is to be respected as a Rishi. A Rishi is not someone, the usual image is someone sitting cross-legged or in a particular position, and most of the times you see the positions are given so much of importance that you sit in this position or that position, you look this way, that way. You have to have some, you have to decorate yourself in a particular manner. But that doesn't define anyone as a Rishi. So one can sit in the same position the way Buddha sat for years together, but will never get nirvana by sitting in that position. Because it is not the position which got the nirvana to Buddha. It is something else, of which a Rishi is in possession. And anyone who possesses that becomes a Rishi. Sri Aurobindo never sat in a particular position. He was all the times moving, walking. All his realizations came to him in a walking situation while he was walking. So, very, very difficult to recognize a Rishi. A very ordinary person. Very ordinary person. No one will know that. Therefore, the tradition, the Rishi tradition itself, it says have mutual respect for each other. Because you don't know who the person with whom you are sitting may be. We don't know. I mean, outwardly we can see something, but inwardly it will be entirely different. Outwardly someone may be looking very nice, sober, everything, but inwardly very different. May not be the same person. Outwardly looking very ordinary, inwardly may be very profound. We don't know. That's why not to be judgmental. The mother has very strictly told us not to be judgmental by looking at the outer appearance. So she even has said, do not look at anyone's clothing or anyone once someone enters to the ashram. Just look at the soul. With what aspiration someone comes to. That is the Rishi tradition. They don't look at all these things. Never give importance to this. What mattered is that sincere aspiration and how sincerely one pursued for the fulfillment of that aspiration. The quest for knowledge we were talking. If you look at the life story of every Rishi, famous Rishi, take for example, and there are endless stories in our tradition. Pick up any text, epic, Puranic text, you will find number of akhyanas and upakhyanas, kathas about the Rishis. and then how they built this tradition. The word Rishi, let's contemplate on the word Rishi. The word Rishi is actually used in various senses. It has a general sense where every sadhu, every santa, every mahatma, every intellectual person, everyone morally, ethically sound is also called a Rishi. There are gradations of Rishis in general. But from the Vedic perspective, it is, they called a Rishi in two forms. Sakshatkrita Dharma and Asakshatkrita Dharma. It means someone who has the direct realization of the truth. He has seen, he has realized, he has seen the truth face to face. This is the word Swami Vivekananda uses. So, the one who has come face to face with the truth is the Rishi. They call it as Rishaya Mantra Drashtara. The Rishi is the one who has seen the mantra, who has seen the secret Shakti behind all that lies within and all that lies without, is the Rishi, who has the direct perception, Pratyaksha, who has seen it directly. Sakshatkrita Dharma. Then you have Asakshatkrita. Like on one side, someone has seen the truth. This is how it happens. There's someone who has raised himself from the level of ordinary to the highest level, where he sees the truth, he experiences it. And at that state of realization, the content of that realization, or whatever he sees, it gets reverberated in the whole consciousness. And it's a very organic process that it vibrates in the consciousness. And those vibrations again have the power to organize themselves in a very harmoniously rhythmic manner. That means the mantra gets organized itself in the consciousness in a sound form, in a potent sound form, which we call mantra. And that happens to a Rishi. Someone may say that, okay, who are these people? That, it sounds very mystic. Something must have happened long back when it was a very different environment. Does it happen now also? Has it happened? Are the Rishis born? But then we have examples of many, because Sri Aurobindo says there has been no age when a Rishi is not alive. There has been no time period when the Rishis are not alive. Even in his Bhavani Bharati, a short Sanskrit poem, Sri Aurobindo says, he refers to these Rishis as Himabhuta Deha. That means they have become the snows of Himalayas. Himabhuta Deha. They have buried themselves. And it is those Rishis who speak silently. And the silent message that they send, it shapes the world. Huh? Maybe. I mean, there will be plenty. That's why it's very, very difficult to understand the Rishi tradition. Very mysterious. Himabhuta Deha, body. Their bodies have become, they have turned to snow pieces. Himabhuta Deha. So, The Rishis, I mean, it is up to them. It is up to a Rishi whether he wants to continue with the same body or he wants to discard it and take a new body. It's entirely up to him. Yeah. No, there are plenty, like the way Sri Aurobindo had his conversation with Swami Vivekananda or Ramakrishna. They have a different level of interaction. I know Mahatma in my village, just 15 kilometers away from my village, who came and settled in a hilly area where there was nothing, no water to drink. But he used to see Sri Aurobindo and the mother almost, every moment. He never visited Pondicherry. He had no intention of visiting Pondicherry. Where he said, I am seeing them. And anyone who approached him, he used to have a bunch of, loose flowers. And he'll say that take these flowers and tell whatever you want to tell to Sri Aurobindo and the mother. That's all. Then he will get immersed in his sadhana. That's how he used to do. And it is said that in that place near my village, there is a Gupta Ganga, because his mother wanted to have the experience of taking bath in the Ganga. He said, I can't take you, but he put something on the stone. It's a hilly area, and then the water started. So the spring is still alive. I mean, it is just 50, 60 years old. Gupta Ganga, which is there. One cannot expect, when all waters get dried during the summer season in that area, the people do not get water, so it has to be supplied from outside, but that never gets dried, that pond. So it's very difficult to understand how it happens. So the Rishis, they were the true leaders, they are the true leaders of the society. Sri Aurobindo even says in one of his aphorisms that some Rishi sitting in Himalaya must have thought of fraternity, universal brotherhood, equality, and a French Revolution takes place. Yeah. So somewhere someone thinks, gives a thought to it, ideate it, and it actualizes somewhere else. That's what is the work of a Rishi. And this tradition believed that never allow a single negative thought into your consciousness, because every vibration is a permanent vibration. Once things are created, cannot be erased. This was also a question in me, like how things cannot be erased. So many files get deleted from our computer, so it's like that. It happened with me also, like when for the first time I went to USA, I was very excited to click many photos. I had taken a camera with me. I got downloaded all the photos and everything, and then changing it from one computer to the other computer to the hard disk. I wanted to store it in multiple places. And it got deleted from, I have deleted because I transferred from one system to the other system, I deleted. In the process, I have deleted from all systems. So I was very disappointed, but the system manager recovered everything. He said nothing gets deleted. Okay. So what we get deleted, what we see that, okay, my file is deleted, it's illusion actually. It never gets deleted. Na sato vidyate bhava, na abhava vidyate sata. What has been created will never get lost. This is the eternal teaching of the Rishi tradition. And I realized that when my files were recovered. Na abhava vidyate sata. That's a direct experience of the Shastric teaching. And it cannot be. Our technology also tries to prove what has been there. You can see that. Not only that, it's an illusion. That's what Panini teaches us. He says that lopa means a delusion. And how he defines lopa. Panini defines lopa as adarshanam lopa. It's just an invisible state, but it is not that it is completely erased. That's why all that is called lopa in Panini, they exercise their force somewhere else. The force is there. Nothing can be erased. Okay. This is the greatest experience, the greatest teaching. Na bhava vidyate-sarvamvijïätam.
That logic, unicorn must be existing somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere existing. Like we call it as they call it unicorn. We call it sasasrunga. Sasasrunga means a rabbit's horns. Okay. Esha bandhya suto yati sasasrunga dhanurdhara. So the child of a barren lady and sasasrunga dhanurdhara. So they are not there, but they must be there in the ideation. Something gets lost, but something else materializes in the book. So maybe a minutest version, say from the sthula to sukshma, you look at the force with which the dinosaurs work, something physical which exists at the gross level, very powerful. The same work can be done by a small minute particle, like how technology is bringing the minutest things. Like you will find that a mosquito is moving, but it may be a drone with a very subtle camera in it. You don't know. It looks like a mosquito, looks like an insect. That's how things happen. Anyway, so the Rishi, the word Rishi itself comes from the root sound Rish. The basic word connected with Rishi is R, like A, E, R, that R. If you look at the very structure of R, you can find lot of movements inside, straight and this way, that way. So R is the sound of dynamism, pure dynamism. R is the sound of movement, rhythmic movement. So, Rishi is the one who has the knowledge of this universal rhythmic movement. Because he has the knowledge, he also moves with the movement. He becomes one with the movement. Yeah, Ritam, Rishi, they come from the same family. So, yes, dynamic consciousness, truth consciousness, Ritam is the ordered truth. Of course, we will be discussing about same Rishi, Krishna, Vrishti, yes. The basic experience behind the root sound R or the seed sound R is a vibrant, because R refers to the vibrant state of existence. Like A refers to the absolute state of existence. E refers to the relative state of existence. U refers to the pervasive state of existence. And R refers to the dynamic, vibrant state of existence. Absolute, yes. That's why Krishna says in the Gita, Aksharanam akarosmi, like I am A. If you go to the traditional dictionaries, you will find A means Vishnu, A means Shakti, Devi, A means Shiva, everything. So it refers to the absolute state of existence. Okay. So R is the vibrant, dynamic state of existence. So Rishi is the one who dynamically moves, who knows the rhythm, who knows the truth, who knows what is order, what is ordered truths, who knows what is rhythm, rhythmic dynamism, who knows how to move rhythmically, who knows how to align oneself with that rhythmic movement of the Jagat. Because this entire creation is Jagat, Jagatyam Jagat. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat. This entire creation is seen as a movement. And here everything is on move. From the minutest particle to the greatest particles. So everything is on move. At such a speed that we hardly realize that we are on move. And without movement, there is no Jagat. The Jagat means movement. It comes from the root sound Gam. Gam means to move, to go. If everything is static, then remains static, nothing happens. So it is ever on move. And this is not any ordinary movement, it's a rhythmic and ordered movement and vibrant movement. The one who, by following a certain discipline, has aligned oneself with that universal rhythmic movement is a Rishi. And there lies the secret of gaining all knowledge. Unless and one has to learn the process, the method, the way of aligning oneself with that movement. That's what is sadhana. Sadhana is all about aligning oneself. Otherwise, the ordinary state of mind, ordinary state of prana, ordinary state of any part of our being and the consciousness is to move away, to be in chaos. To be in chaos. That's why, we cannot even sit in silence for a minute, for a few seconds. Because it's always in a chaotic state. The moment we close our eyes, we can see what is happening. The super cyclone taking place. Vayoriva Sudushkaram. Like in a super cyclone, no one can have any control. It's tsunami. The mind state is like that. Vayoriva Sudushkaram. Beautiful analogy which is given in the Gita. Very difficult. So aligning oneself. The Rishi has the power to align oneself. And to remain in alignment. Because sometimes what happens during a state of meditation or session of meditation, session of satsang or lecture, one gets aligned. I visit to a sacred place, it's aligned for a moment. But then you come out and nothing happens. You say, where is it? It has gone. It was a beautiful moment. Even to Arjuna also the same thing happened. When he was listening to the Gita, he was very much aligned. But after the war is over, he forgot the Gita. He said to Krishna that, I have forgotten the entire teaching. I don't know. But it sounded very beautiful. When you were giving the discourse, it sounded really beautiful. Yes. Yeah. That's the beauty when Krishna himself says, it's difficult for me to give the entire teaching to you. Because at that time I was aligned. Param hi Brahma Katitam Yoga Yuktena Tanmaya. This alignment is Yoga Yukta. He says, I brought down the supreme words from the supreme status by being aligned with that supreme status. Yoga Yuktena Tanmaya Param hi Brahma Katitam. I have spoken to you the supreme words by aligning myself, by being one with Tanmaya, Tat Maya Kathitam. I have spoken to you those supreme words, bringing it down from a higher state of consciousness by being one with that consciousness, which is not possible now in this situation. But I can tell you, I have it in my memory, I can repeat it. Yeah. I can repeat it to you briefly. That's how you have the Anugita in the Mahabharata. So a brief summary of the entire Gita in 300 odd verses. So that's what is the power of a Rishi. When Krishna himself was a Rishi. And then what happens, what is the power of a Rishi's word, a Rishi's teaching, is that a single word of a Rishi can change the whole circumstance, changed the whole situation. A single word. That's what Sri Aurobindo says, that Krishna heard this a single word of Ghora Rishi, and that was enough for Krishna. The Devaki Nandana, that's how you find in Chandogya Upanishad, which mentions about the Devaki Nandana Krishna hearing the voice of Rishi Ghora Angiras. A single word, it changes the whole consciousness, changes the whole situation, and one gets aligned. Please remember that the Rishi, what is core to the Rishi consciousness is this alignment. One has to remain aligned with the supreme consciousness, the truth. Has to prepare oneself and raise oneself to a state in which one can see the truth face to face, eye to eye. This is the Pratyaksha Dharma, Rishi. The tradition also assigned this word Rishi to ascribed rather this term Rishi to the one who followed the path of the mantra drashta Rishi. Like, I have not seen the mantra directly, I have not come face to face with the truth, but I am in touch with someone who has seen it. Okay, I am under the custody of someone who is a mantra drashta. He is also called Rishi. He is our Pratyaksha Dharma. So he receives the mantra through a guru, through another Rishi. The Rishi passes it on to the other, brings the disciple in contact with, and turns him to be a Rishi. That's why when the initiation takes place, the guru, the Tantra gives a definition of guru, saying Gurur Mata. The guru is the mother. And symbolically, the guru has to hold the disciple on his lap like a mother. And then 3 nights he has to hold the Shishya in his garbha. That's what is the womb. He has to imagine that it's a mother's womb. That's what happens. Upanayana. So he gives a new birth to the same person. Then one becomes the Dvija, the second one, Dvija, the second one, taking birth for the second time. The whole idea is that the Rishi alone has the power to transform and transmit. Unless and until one is a Rishi, it's very difficult to transmit the truth in a truthful manner. The truth also has to be transmitted in a truthful manner. No distortion has to take place. That's why the mantra has the power that anyone who comes in contact with the mantra has the power to put that person in touch with the experience behind the mantra. So by coming in contact with the mantra, one comes in contact with the experience, the content. And that content, when it is expressed or when it has manifest through the Rishi has not allowed. The Rishi is very conscious, like sometimes we have certain experiences, we have certain realizations, but the usual tendency of an ordinary person is to translate it by using one's own mind. And then you have so many stories. We were in a flat here which had a lot of problem. So someone had converted the balcony to rooms on one side. The other side people complained that no, it looks very odd. There was a meeting of all the association. And that lady who had built converted the balcony into the room. So she said, like for last 13 years, the mother comes in my dream and then she shows that you should convert it into a room. So please don't destroy it. Then there was another person, he said, like ever since you have built it, I also kept praying to the mother, and the mother comes in my dream and says, she takes her Mahakali Rupa and she said, destroy it, destroy it, destroy it. Now this is what is the distortion of the truth. And the ordinary mind, it plays with this. That's why Rishi doesn't allow the mind to interfere into the domain of truths. Because the mind, even the Rishi's mind can distort. The yogi can be yoga bhrashta. He may be born in a noble family, next birth, but the yogi also has a chance of getting diverted and then becoming yoga bhrashta. Yoga bhrashta taduchyate. Okay. So, the Rishi doesn't allow the mind to interfere. That's why if you remember, while when Sri Aurobindo gives us the divine life, he says the entire divine life came straight from the highest consciousness to the tip of the pen. It has not passed through. It has descended directly to the tip of the pen. He didn't allow any part of his consciousness to interfere. That's how you have a new Veda. You have Savitri, you have life divine. I mean, the humanity will take maybe another 1,000 years to understand what is there, the real value of it. This is how, after so many thousands of years, we realize the importance of the Veda. Why to worry whether someone understands Sri Aurobindo or not? He is just 150 years old. So another 1500 years maybe. Or the consciousness may accelerate the process, the new consciousness, which may help humanity to understand and realize it. But that's the work of a Rishi. He doesn't care about anything what the world says. He is concerned only about the truth. The Rishi is concerned only about the truth. That's why the greatest mantra that has been given to us. Like today morning was a beautiful day. After 3 years, I think we went to Sri Aurobindo's room. For the last 3 years, it was not open during the pandemic time. I didn't go at least, and some of you who are here. Yes, but this year it was. So, it's beautiful, like when you come down from Sri Aurobindo's room, the message which is written on the staircase, cling to truth. That's the crux of Sanatana Dharma. Cling to truth. One can say anything one wants to say against Sanatana Dharma, against the Veda, Upanishad, anything. But one has to see whether one is speaking the truth, whether there is any truth or not. And we know what truth is, all those who have come in contact with even a little bit of this Dharma. Swalpamatyasya dharmasya trayate madhomaya. A little bit of this Dharma can save us from the greatest of the great dangers. Little bit. So that's what is the work of a Rishi. So, Rishaya mantra drashtara. A Rishi has the power to see the truth directly. That's where, by the power of tapas, the Rishi raises him to a state where he is prepared, well prepared to see the truth. He has created that platform where the truth can manifest. So this adhara prastuti, preparing the adhara to hold the truth, to receive the truth, grahana, dharana and smarana. These were again powerful ways of manifesting the truth. So one has to be prepared. That's why the mother says, like, when darshan days comes, how does one prepare oneself to have the darshan of Sri Aurobindo? When we go to a temple, what kind of preparation we should have, so then we can, truly feel the presence of the deity. If that prastuti is not there, in a hurry we just go to temple because we have to go. Today is Ekadasi, or today is this. Just go finish ritual, matter over, then get busy. But that's not the way. There's a lot of preparation one has to have. Like, how do I receive the blessings? So this receiving is a part of our sadhana. How do I develop the grahana samarthya, the power of receptivity? And once we have received, most of the times we receive, but we do not have the power to hold it. That's the dharana samarthya. So one can receive, but one has to hold it. But most of the times we have received, we have, the power to hold it within, but we do not become aware of it all the times. That's why it's the smarana samarthya. Receive it, hold it, and be aware of it all the times. Then only, today we are talking about Indian knowledge systems or Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, the knowledge tradition, the intellectual tradition, the Rishi tradition. But what is the prastuti? What is the preparation for understanding it? Unless and until there is sadhana, the mere, you can have so many IKS divisions, IKS centers here, there, everywhere. But if sadhana is not there, prastuti is not there, people will not understand the value of this tradition. This is the land of sadhana. You prepare yourself. So, grahana samarthya, dharana samarthya, and smarana samarthya. And what kind of smarana? Again, Gita says, tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. There should not be a single moment, O Arjuna, that you have forgotten me. A constant awareness. That's what is smarana samarthya. That no moment when we have forgotten who we are, what we hold within. We have to cling to the truth. So clinging to the truth is not, looks very simple, 2 words, cling to truth, or 3 words. But this is the most difficult sadhana. But the Rishis were intent on pursuing this sadhana, persistent. They were persistent in their will. And this persistence is again another part of important aspect of the Rishi tradition. That's why the mother explains very beautifully. Because see, when I say like Sri Aurobindo and the mother, anything that you read, it's a clear interpretation of the Veda, Upanishad, Gita, the traditions. This is like, how do I, how do I make a progress? Like you say, preti, not preta, preti, shreyas. The Rishi tradition has set a goal, the ultimate goal of the humanity, of life, to attain to shreyas, all that is good for the soul's progress. One has to cling to that. But how? They have set the goal. The shreyas has to be attained. Nishreyas. Abhyudaya, nishreyas. 2 important words again of our tradition, of our knowledge tradition. So we have to see our all-round growth, and which culminates in nishreyas, the ultimate moksha. Moksha is not something that you depart from the world. Moksha is not something one has to depart from the world. Moksha is the liberation from, or when Sri Aurobindo says that our Shastras have the power to liberate the humanity So he means, and the Shastras also mean by moksha, liberation from what? Liberation from all our weaknesses, all shortcomings, all gaps have to be filled in. That's real moksha. That the consciousness is not weak, doesn't carry any weakness, doesn't carry any limitation. So our weaknesses are again result of the limitation of the consciousness, limited consciousness. So the weakness can take place only in a limited consciousness. The Rishi lives in unlimited consciousness, Ananta. So what matters to him is Ananta. The Satya is Ananta. He lives in the Santa. Santa means like the definite, limited form, but is not unaware of the Anantya, the infinitude. So that's what defines a Rishi. Like he has great tapasa, Brahmacharya, Dakshina, Bahushrutten. These are the processes by which one attains to the Rishihood, the state of a Rishi, by tapas. And tapas again doesn't mean that to sit in a position or like the usual idea about tapas. Tapas is heat, that one has to keep that flame of aspiration burning eternally, or one is aware of that presence of the flame within, Agni within. That's tapas. One has to feel the warmth of that flame within. Be contemplated on that flame, that guhasaya. That's something which is secret in the depth of the heart, of the center of the being. So that's tapas. Daksha. Daksha means all kinds of, like a Rishi is Daksha. He doesn't make a show off. There's a beautiful Zen story which I narrate, which again defines who a Rishi is. So a great archer was brought before a Zen master. His disciples were very fond of this archer because he was at top of the town. He can display any kind of things. Archery is, like his baएं हाथ का खेल. It's his dexterity, his skill in archery was something beyond imagination. That is the level of perfection that archer had achieved. So the Zen master, in his presence, the archer so displayed all challenges so beautifully, perfectly. It was a wow situation. Then the Zen, everyone looked at the end of the performance. So everyone looked at the Zen master. So he didn't say anything. Like how the Zens have to be recognized. Again, a little digression. There was a famous person who was regarded as a Zen master. But a Zen master wanted to check whether he is a true Zen or not. So he asked him, "Are you truly a Zen master?" So he didn't say anything. He dropped the bag that he was carrying. That's how the Zen masters teach. Then he understood that he is a true Zen master. They don't speak. Another disciple goes to a master, says that I want to learn. He said, okay, hold that cup and then bring here. So he goes on pouring the tea. He says, sir, it is spilling out. He said, that's the lesson. Like if you come with a cup full of tea, then it cannot hold anything more. You have to empty yourself and come. So they convey the message in a very symbolic manner. Symbolism is something which is very, very natural to the higher consciousness. The Rishis never use symbol to hide anything. The Veda is a hardcore symbolism. more hard is the symbolism, more genuine is the teaching. And more profound is the teaching. And to the higher consciousness, symbolism is very, very natural, because the sound, symbol and the sense, they manifest together harmoniously in the higher consciousness. That's what we call a mantra. So in a mantra again you see that alignment of the sound, sense and symbolism. Symbol. 3 S's. Okay. So that's why we say don't speak. So Zen master, this archer, when everyone looked at the Zen master, he simply went, took the bow from him and the arrows and went to a place. And no one has the gut to ask, where are you going? They just have to follow. Everything happens in silence. So everyone followed, and that Zen master went to a place where it's a narrow cliff. The two hilltops are joined, connected by a tilting log, piece of wood. Okay. So one has to go to the other side very carefully. If you fall down, you fall down into the, where you would go, you don't know. So this Zen master went with the bow and the arrow, stood in the middle of that log and started displaying the same thing what the archer did. Then invited the archer to come and then stand here and then display. And the archer refused. He said, like, you are grounded on the ground. Because you do not have complete control over yourself. A Rishi has complete control over himself. He can be grounded anywhere. He can fly in the air. He has complete control over himself. So one may be achieving a skill at a certain level, a physical skill. But if one has not attained perfection at the mental, psychological, emotional, sensational level, one has not attained the real skill. So that archer's skill got completely, he got disqualified in front of the Zen master. So when it says daksha, daksha means like tapas and daksha. Like how does one become a rishi? The process of becoming a rishi is tapas. Intensely the tapas has to be followed. Daksha, the skill. The skill means it's a perfection. It's not the same skill as it happens in the name of skill development program. We have a full ministry for that. This daksha is very different. We have to attain to that. Okay, maybe like this is the beginning of something, but we need to bring that Indian knowledge system into the skill development. Yeah, mechanical skill. Yeah. So daksha here, like think of that Zen master, what kind of daksha he has attained to. A complete control over every part of the being. Daksha. Then bahushrutya. Bahushrutya means like bahusruta, much learning. A rishi never hesitates from learning from any situation or from anyone. Baladapi sukadapi. From a child, from a shuka, from a parrot, and from every situation. That's how you find that Dattatreya, he has how many gurus? 24 gurus. From every situation he learns. That's again the beauty of the entire Vibhuti Yoga of chapter 10 of the Gita, where the special manifestations of the Supreme Consciousness, the Supreme Reality, and every Vibhuti is a Guru who can teach us in many ways. And who are these Vibhutis? Ashwatha is a vibhuti. Ucheshrava is a vibhuti. Like a horse, an animal, a plant kingdom, nothing is, excluded. We find that divinity, the full manifestation of the divine in everything and being, not just human consciousness. That's why it says the bahusrutya, that means much learning from every situation. You know the story of Uddalaka, story of Yajnavalkya, Janaka, Vasishtha, Vishwamitra, Pippalada, Pravahana, Dirghatama, all these great Rishis, they kept learning from each other. They kept sharing their knowledge with each other. They kept teaching, they kept learning. The most beautiful teaching, that we get from the life of Uddalaka, who is one of my favorite Rishis in the whole Rishi tradition. His quest for learning, when his son Shvetaketu refused to go with him to learn from Pravahana, he left him alone. And he went to King Pravahana to learn about the questions, about the answers to the questions which he had asked to his son Shvetaketu. And when he was learning from Pravahana, the Rajarshi, again another 5 or 6 aspirants, they come to learn from him Vaishwanara Vidya, a particular knowledge of which he was known to be a master. But he had never taught it to anyone. But people know that he has the Vaishwanara Vidya with him, a particular knowledge or siddhi he knows. But when actually the aspirants came to learn from him, so he said that, look, I know the Vidya, but I do not have the confidence to teach it. That's the truthfulness of a teacher. There are many people who may be knowing many things, but are we confident of teaching it? Can someone teach it confidently? A real teacher is confident. So he said, if it's not confident, he will not teach. He said, I know it, but I am not confident of teaching it to others. But I know someone, another friend of mine, who is immensely competent and confident of teaching it. So let's go together. I also would like to join to refine my knowledge. So he goes with the aspirants, young aspirants, to his friend, another Rishi, from which he learns. That's the beauty of our tradition, Bahusrutya. So tapasa, Bahusrutyam, Dakshin, Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is again something, like people say, oh, Brahmacharya is meant only for the Brahmacharis. No. The importance of a Brahmacharya is that, can you think a Grihastha cannot be a true Grihastha without Brahmacharya? A Vanaprasthi cannot be a true Vanaprasthi without Brahmacharya. A Sannyasi cannot be a Sannyasi without Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is not a particular ashram where, okay, my Brahmacharya ashram is over, so Brahmacharya is over. No. So Brahmacharya has to be maintained throughout. And what is Brahmacharya? Brahmacharya is not something what is usually understood as celibacy. It's not that. One can remain a brahmachari forever. Yet, we are not sure whether the brahmacharya is maintained or not. One can be a sannyasi, one can be, I give this example in almost every talk of mine. That I know someone here in Pondicherry. I don't know whether he lives in Pondicherry or not, but if he is not living also, he constantly comes, visits Pondicherry. It looks like a Sadhu Baba. And once I had to call him, give him a call. So immediately the call was declined. Then I got a message, Mishra ji, today is Thursday, and every Thursday I do Mauna Sadhana. So I don't speak, but we can chat. I don't speak, but we can chat. Okay. That's not Brahmacharya. So, what Gita says, Karmendriyani sanyamya ya aste manasa smaran, is the vimudhatma mithyachara sajjit. Yeah. So, he's a man of false conduct. One has controlled one's own outer organs, but continues to think about it. I mean, someone went to the mother and said that, Mother, very difficult for me to even sit for few minutes, but I am very jealous of my friends sitting for 3 hours, 2.5 hours in meditation. Then the mother said that, like if you know what they are doing during that meditation, you will feel very happy that you are not doing that. It's not how long you sit in meditation, but the content of the meditation. Even a 1 minute meditation can be more powerful than a 3 hours meditation or 3 lives meditation. So this is where lies again the importance of this tradition. The Brahmacharya is basically, and Sri Aurobindo has explained it very logically, very systematically and scientifically in a writing called The Brain of India. If you want to understand what is Brahmacharya, you must read The Brain of India. No one has given such a beautiful explanation of Brahmacharya. This is like any unnecessary wastage of energy or unnecessary use of energy is a wastage that needs to be checked. Just imagine how many unnecessary words we use in a day. If we can have a check on that, that's Brahmacharya. The conservation of energy. The conservation of the wastage of energy is not just one way of wasting energy. Unnecessary thoughts is also a wastage of energy. Unnecessary wastage of energy. So to have control over our thought is also Brahmacharya. To have control over our speech is Brahmacharya. To have control over our emotions is Brahmacharya. So how many different things where we have unnecessary utilization of all that has been given to us. The words, thoughts, emotions, physical movements. So many physical movements we do unnecessarily, which are not necessary. Because we are not aware. Do I sit with the actual movement necessary for sitting in a position? Or I make so many unnecessary movements, physical movements. And if you observe, there's so many unnecessary physical movements. हाथ हिलाना, सर हिलाना, बस हम हिलते रहते हैं. We have understood Jagatyam Jagat, क्योंकि everything is movement, so I am moving with the movement. Okay, no. Yes. So like once Manoj Das was a great storyteller and orator. So he said that maximum number of people have understood half of the Gita. Another half they don't want to understand or have not understood. He said, if the cream of the Gita is Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Braja, then half of the Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, that the humanity has understood. कि सारे धर्म को त्याग दो. Bas, half of the Gita is understood. Another half will see. Will happen. So,
can be understood that somebody dwelling in supramental?
no, Brahman is expansion. So, Brahmacharya is a practice that helps the expansion of consciousness. To be in Brahman, to follow the path of Brahman or moving towards the Brahman, Brahmacharya, Brahmani Charati, Brahmacharya. And the Brahman is all about expansion, all about expansion. So anything that helps us in expanding our consciousness, anything that helps us transcending the limited consciousness and entering into the unlimited consciousness from finite to infinite is Brahmacharya. And that has to continue throughout the life. So it is not that to be followed only at a particular ashram. Because without Brahmacharya, there cannot be any standing, any foundation. So no grihastha, no vanaprastha, no sannyasa ashram can be pursued without Brahmacharya. This is central to it. So that's what makes someone Rishi. So attainment of the state of Rishihood is this. Tapasa, Brahmacharyena, Dakshena, Bahusrutyena. So when these are followed, this leads us towards becoming a Rishi. And a Rishi, through this, develops an inner power of vision, antardrashti. And through that antardrashti, or through that special power of the vision, he can see the truth directly. It needs that antardrashti to be developed. And without that antardrashti, no one can, be a Rishi or can have any solution to the challenges and crises in life. Because all problems are within us, all solutions are within us. So that developing this antardrashti is the work of a Rishi, or work towards the attainment of Rishihood. Yeah. The Guru initiating a mantra to a mantra, to a particular way of doing sadhana, to a shishya, is that the initiation, a beginning has taken place, and repetition means enforcement, that you have to do it intensely. Yes, repetition always refers to intensity. So whenever there is intensity intended, so we repeat, jao jao, jaldi jaldi aao. So even in the normal language also, like we repeat it twice, thrice. Chalo 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 chalo. So we add intensity to it. So repetition has been given a lot of importance here to add intensity to it. We intensely pursue it. That's why this is tapas. Yes. So the processes by which the Rishi develops, or the aspirant has to develop the antardrashti, the inner power of vision. At the same time, drishti, shruti are two important components in the Vedic system of yoga, in the Vedantic system of yoga. drishti, shruti. Shruti, again, by following a certain process, as the aspirant develops the antardrishti, one has to develop the antashruti. That means the inner power of audition, by which one hears the voice of the truth directly. One hears the voice of the truth directly. Because that concealed divinity, secret in the heart of everyone, does keep sending subtle messages. Because of the lack of antashruti, we do not, or we fail to hear the message, the voice of the truth. Even though we hear, again because of the lack of many other things, we don't heed to it, we don't follow it up, or we ignore it. So antashruti, the inner power of audition, it helps us. This is how one turns to become a Rishi. Like directly he comes face to face with the truth, he can hear the voice of the truth directly. That's why the Veda says, Kavayah Satya Srotara. Kavaya, Kavi is another word for Rishi. Kavayati. That means whatever he experiences, whatever he realizes, so he puts it into a rhythmic poetry. That's why he Kavayati. It cannot be put in prose. It has to be in poetry. All higher realizations have to be in poetry, because poetry has a greater power than prose. Because poetry is full of rhythm. It doesn't mean that the prose passages do not have rhythm. They do have. Wherever there is rhythm, the truth can be expressed powerfully through the rhythmic movement. That's why rhythm.
Vedas are in general known as Shruti.
Shruti, yes. So there are two reasons why the Vedas are called Shruti. The Vedas are called Veda, and the Vedas are called Shruti. The Vedas are called Agamas. Now, Agama also got fixed in the sense of Tantric tradition, so they ascribed another term called the Nigama to the Veda. Okay. Agama is actually all that comes. Agama. So all that we receive in a state of meditation is Agama. All that comes to us. Nigama again, like what comes and then what takes us deep into the content is the Nigama. Ni means to go down, deep down. It leads us towards the depth of what has been learned or what has been received. Nigamas. Earlier it was, the Agama word was used, but when the Agama word got fixed in the sense of the Tantric text, then the new term Nigama was discovered and then ascribed to Nigama. Apaurushaya. Yes, Apaurushaya, because the word Apaurushaya has been defined in various ways, that it is not man-made. Okay. But Apaurushaya, says Sri Aurobindo has given a very different interpretation to the word Apaurushaya. Why Veda is Apaurushaya? The Veda is the result of the Rishi consciousness. And Rishi is what? In general, the ordinary consciousness, all those who live in the ordinary consciousness are generally called Purusha. And one who has transcended the ordinary becomes Apurusha. And what gets produced through the Apurusha is Apaurushaya. Because the Veda is a Rishi Vakya. So it is apaurushaya. That means it has manifest or it has come through a consciousness which is not ordinary. Yeah. That's a different. That's a different Purusha Prakriti. Contextually, we need to understand. So, in the Sankhya philosophy, the Purusha Prakriti, that will have a different connotation. Yeah, the word Purusha here. So, here Purusha, it refers to both the man and woman, the human being. Purusha. But don't take that and translate it and then enter into a toilet where it is written Purusha. Okay. So practically we have to differentiate it.
So Apaurushaya and Nigama both are for attributes of
Apaurushaya. Veda is Apaurushaya.
It's a beautiful poem by song by Dynamism.
Okay, so the Rishi has to have, it's called the Kavaya Satya Srotara. They are the hearers of the truth. In this sense, the Veda is called Shruti because it is a direct hearing of the voice of the truth, what has been heard. And once it is heard, nothing else has intervened to interpret it or distort it. The Rishi's mind, the Rishi will not allow his mind to intervene or interpret. The way it is heard, the way it is seen, in an exact manner, the Rishi presents it. That's why the Rishi himself says, Yadrugeva dadrushe tadruguchyate. The way I saw, I put it here. Yadrugeva dadrushe tadruguchyate. There has been no interference here, no distortion here. It is, whatever is heard is presented here without any intervention, interpretation, distortion. That's why the mantras are not distorted. So whatever is heard directly is Shruti. The other meaning ascribed to it is that once the mantra is received by a Rishi, he passes it on to another Rishi or another set of people. So then it continues to remain in the memory of the people. So that's where the Shruti tradition, the oral tradition. So by hearing, one keeps it in the memory. Okay. So he repeats, the Guru repeats, the disciple hears and then repeats back. So this is how the Veda has been transmitted in an undistorted manner for several thousands of years. It's intact. There has been no loss, even at the Shruti level, Swara level. To that minutest level, the Veda has been there in its purest form. What was heard, what was seen so many thousands of years before, today it is there in the same manner in the memory of the people. And this has been transmitted through this speaking and hearing, speaking and hearing. That's how also the Veda is called Shruti. Huh? Yeah, there's no writing because it was, writing system was not there. Again, it will be difficult to say. That is the earliest reference, but more than that also, like in the Vedic literature also, like you have words and root sounds which refer to scratching, writing. Okay. Lick is a root sound which is there much before. Okay. But writing was not given much importance as the Shruti was given. The Shruti was considered to be the authentic way of.
Vedic mantras are preserved as the writing form was there.
Yeah, writing form
And
also,
it
but
was
later
preserved.
it was written down. Later it was written down. Huh? Yeah, yeah. But then the tradition also considered tatha likhita pathaka, the paper presentation, as it happens in many conferences. Look at and then read. It was not allowed. Likhita pathaka was considered to be someone who is faulty. It is not allowed. Okay. You have to speak from the memory. And another reason I'll tell you. Whatever is written, it's very difficult to understand the real intention of the speaker from a written text. And we never had created punctuations. Punctuations are, got developed in other languages, in other cultures, to avoid, misinterpretation. Sanskrit therefore doesn't have a question mark, semicolon, exclamation, colons, comma, semicolon. We do not have those punctuations because everything is a single bar which ends it. But then it is difficult to understand the intention of a speaker from the written text. Why? Because suppose you have on a paper it is written, you eat fruit. How many different meanings can be derived from it? Because suppose my intention is to say, you eat fruit, I am surprised. You are not allowed to eat fruit. I mean, so many things it can convey. My stress on you gives a different meaning. Then I say, you eat fruit? Or you eat fruit? So depending upon where you are giving the stress, the meaning keeps changing. And the swaras have that value. Where you make the high pitch, low pitch, the ascending and descending pitch, that decides the meaning. That was given importance in the Shruti tradition. Shruti tradition, that one has to hear it right from the childhood when the ears have not become hardened. Okay. The adults will be very difficult for the adults to catch the subtle nuances of the swaras and then do it as a child does it. So that's why it was the Gurukul system was right from the beginning. So they have to rote learn the Veda, rote learn, and the rote learning helped a lot. That's how we could produce the greatest of the intellectuals in the world. We had a Vedanta Deshikan, we had a Kalidas, we had Aryabhatta, we had a Varaha Mihira, because of this tradition. And today, like I was addressing to a group of high school students, I told them, because they were making so much noise, that the moment you bring them Indian knowledge or Sanskrit or anything, they are not ready to listen. So, वो कहाँ से आ गए पंडित जी, अब संस्कृत के बारे में बताएंगे. That's the kind of thing they carry in the mind. So I told them that, okay, tell me, which is that community which has produced maximum number of Nobel laureates in the field of science? Because you all are more interested in science and technology. You should have this information as a general knowledge. 170 above Nobel laureates in the field of science, various branches of science and technology, are the Jews. A small community has produced the highest number of Nobel laureates. Recently when there was this Hamasa, so they said that let's boycott Jews. And one doctor had written that, okay, then stop taking insulin, stop taking any disease you name, and the medicine will be a Jew's contribution. What do you want to boycott? What do you want? So you see that why? Someone told me, I think it was Desi Raju. Desi Rajuji told me that if you want to understand like why, what is the secret of this, that Jews are intellectually ruling over the world. If you say that till the child is 16 years old, they don't, they may be going to schools, but where the importance is given is to rote learn the Talmud, the sacred text. Every Jew has the entire Talmud in memory. That's what was done in our Gurukul tradition. The Ashtadhyay, Amarakosh, the Veda mantras, just rote learn it. You should know. Every child born in India was in his memory the entire Veda, the entire Ashtadhyay. That's how we could create, we could rule over the entire world. That's why Manu says that, swam charitram sikshiran prathivyam sarvamanala. Every human being other than this country should learn what is charitra, what is character from this land, from the people of this land. There was no examination in our tradition. There was
but why not the rote learning of this ordinary, for example, people are not rote learning?
One can rote learn. There are many people who rote learn to write exams.
When I became teacher, first day, my head of the department told me, do not carry any paper, only chalks and dust. Only then I will know you are capable to do that. So we never used to take notebook and read and know. We have smriti, everything should be here.
This is Shruti and Smriti. So anything which, say for example like Gita, when Krishna says Param hi Brahma Kathitam Yoga Vittena Tanmaya, that is Shruti. But then when he gives us the Anugita, that will be Smriti. Anything which is where mind has the interference will be Smriti. Where there is no interference, it is Shruti. Which is a direct hearing, direct seeing, no intervention, no interference, no interpretation.
What about all the science like Bhaskavacharya, Satyavacharya, all these darshan shastras, are the smritis like Kafe, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, Nyaya?
Then we see the Smriti Shastra became confined to a certain segment. Then these are called the Shastras, the scientific knowledge. Like what you have the Jnana and the Vijnana. So the Vijnana is again wrongly translated as science.
Yes.
The scientific knowledge. So you have the essential knowledge, you have the comprehensive knowledge. Jnana and Vijnana. Vijnana is the comprehensive knowledge. It's not the scientific knowledge.
So that is smriti.
Which one? Comprehensive? No. Vijnana is the highest knowledge, the comprehensive. Yeah. Anyway, so we come back. What we discussed about, like what defines a Rishi, what is the contribution of a Rishi, who are the different types of Rishis, and the Rishi tradition continues and it will continue, because the Rishis, without Rishis one cannot even imagine of Bharat, its contribution, its knowledge system, its tradition. It continues. Like as I said, like Sri Aurobindo, he said that there has been no age, no period where a Rishi doesn't live. All the times they are there. There is the story of Daivarata. Daivarata was a disciple of Ganapati Muni. So whenever he sits in meditation, so things will start flowing through him, and then he used to express something which no one else could understand, but Ganapati Muni would note down everything that is coming through his mouth and then confirmed that these are the new mantras manifesting through Daivarata. And it happened when? Is it in 1920s? 1920s? Yes. Yeah. Everything here is, yes. That's why we give everything the divine origin. Ramanujan will connect his realization, his inventions, discoveries, everything to a deity. That's how the tradition continues. So, it's not a dead tradition, because tradition means like a parampara which has the satatya. Satatya means an uninterrupted continuity. Then only it can become a parampara. Otherwise it is not. If there is a pause, then it won't be called as a parampara. So if we have a jnana parampara, so this parampara continues uninterrupted from so many thousand years before. So there are so many things to be learned about the Rishi tradition. Again, a vast topic. There are so many Rishis in the Veda itself. Like you have more than 300 Rishis who have contributed, whose contribution you will find in the Veda itself. The Rishis were not just the males, the females were also called Rishis or Rishikas. There was no barrier in the society that the female should not get educated or should not learn the Veda. And nowadays you hear that the women should not learn the Veda and so many things, and they have their own logic. So many science, advanced science also are brought into to justify that why women should not learn the Veda, so many things. But at the same time we had Gargi, Apala, Vishwavara, Shraddha, Kamyayani, Katyayani, so many Rishikas who contributed immensely, who debated with others, and whose voices were heard and given importance to those. So the Rishi tradition becomes complete then. It doesn't ignore any side. Okay. So male and female, they have to be included in that. Otherwise, it will not be called a parampara again. So there were many types of Rishis, like all those who lived in the Griha, all those who lived in the forest, all those who were the wandering monks, all those who were intent on teaching, all those who were intent on writing, all those who were intent on just meditating. There are various kinds of Rishis, and the descriptions one finds in Ramayana, Mahabharata and various Puranas. So I have put together this content in a book called The Rishi Tradition of Bharat. So I have the books there, so anyone wants to take it, and then your contribution you can give it to my daughter. She is there. So I have 15 copies are there, so anyone wants can take it. So,
What is the difference between a Rishi and a Muni?
So,
who confers someone as Mahorshi?
Yeah, okay. So the Rishis are also like seen as someone as a Raja Rishi, someone as a Maharshi, someone as a Devarshi, someone as a Brahmarshi, someone as Kandarshi, Shrutarshi. There are various kinds of Rishis. So it is no one confers, but they are known by that name, because say for example, like you take Narada, all his stories that he has a constant communion with the gods, like he travels from the world of gods to the world. So the one who is constantly in communion with the supra-terrestrial beings is called a Devarshi. Okay. Or someone who is intent on the Brahman alone and has attained to that Brahmi sthiti, and that is what is reflected in his character. It's called a Brahmacharya. Okay. Or someone is a Rishi, has the vision of the Rishi, at the same time is the predominant temperament is of the Kshatriya, and he rules over like a king, is called a Rajarshi. Okay. So Maharshi is a term which is given to all the great teachers. Like those who were great teachers, they were called the Maharshi. So like this you have got Shrutarshi, those who were intent on transmitting this knowledge through the Shruti Parampara, they were known as the Shrutarshi. Kandarshi, like someone who is focused only on a particular kanda or a segment, is known as a kanda. Like I have not studied the entire Veda. Like someone who was contemplated on the entire Veda was known as Shrutarshi. But someone who is only one portion of the Veda was known as a Kandarshi. Like one kanda or few kandas one has read or contemplated upon. Now Rishi and Muni. Now Rishi, like it is a difference between the heart and mind, you can say. The Muni works more with the mind. The Muni is more outside to inside. The Rishi is from inside outside. So the Rishi believes in always, expanding and connecting with the whole world. The Muni is more inwardized and then more deeply contemplated within. The Rishi is more of, like flowing. He's everywhere. And the Rishi tradition and the Muni tradition, Anirvan, who has written this Veda Mimamsa, wonderful set of books, Anirvan. His translation of the life divine of Sri Aurobindo or the Upanishads are considered to be the greatest translations and interpretations on Islam. So he has used many new terms also. Those terms which were never there in any of the literature, in any Indian languages. So he's created new terms to give expression to the profound truths that he found in the Veda. So he speaks in his introduction to, say, Ishopanishad or Kathopanishad. He speaks of the two streams, the Rishi Dhara and the Muni Dhara. The Rishi Dhara is more of, like a Bhakta does. You can say like Bhakti, Samarpana, the Bhakti, Samarpana and other things which are of the Rishi Dhara. He flows. The Muni is more concentrated. The Muni works out everything from the highest intellectual standpoint. So there is this tradition, and in the Muni tradition you have more sense of asceticism and rejection of certain things in the Muni Dhara. In the Rishi Dhara there is no rejection. Everything is accepted. So it doesn't say that renounce. It says accept. So in the Muni Dhara you have the rejection of certain things. Sthitadhir Munirujyate.
So that he is attached with that.
No, Dhi also, like in the Rishi tradition also. See, how the Gita is defined, the Muni is one thing. Sometimes the word Rishi also used in the sense of Muni. The word Muni also is used in the sense of Rishi. Contextually you have to see there. The Dhi is something which is very, very important and crucial to the Rishi tradition and the Veda especially. Because the Rishi aspired to attain to that state of illumined Dhi, enlightened Dhi. That's why the famous mantra is Dhyo Yonah Prachodayat. So only the illumined Dhi can produce illumined action. The illumined action can proceed from the illumined thoughts, illumined Dhi. So Dhyo Yonah Prachodayat, Dhyam Ghrutachim Sadhanta. These were the important things for a Rishi. Okay. But if you look at the Muni Dhara and the Rishi Dhara, the way it has been described by Anirvan, so the two streams, like on one side you have the rejection of the world, asceticism, and on another, the world is Maya, and everything has to be like what, like we were talking over this tea, that if you had, I think Surendra mentioned about it, if the West says that if you had Buddha and Gandhi, so how does it fit that you develop nuclear weapons? Okay, so there may be a Buddha, there may be a Gandhi, but what they have done. So what they have done is like, if you analyze them, like Gandhi's ahimsa and the Gita's ahimsa are very, very different. Very, very different. So here the Gita says yudhyasva, like you have to raise your weapon when you are face to face with the enemy. When there is adharma. Establishment of dharma is the work of the Rishi. There no hinsa, and Sri Aurobindo says that a complete ahimsa is not possible on this planet. There may be some other planet where it is possible, but on this planet it's not possible. Complete ahimsa. So in Canada, yes. So that's where the Muni Dhara and the Rishi Dhara, but very difficult to put a watertight, demarcation between the Rishi and the Muni, because the words are interchangeably used also.
We call
whether Munis can see the truth face to face the way Rishis do.
Yeah, that's why I said they are interchangeably used also. Like if say like Kapila Muni. Okay, Kapila is more of a the word is used as a Muni. So we cannot say that Kapila was not a Rishi. So there the word Muni and Rishi very difficult to differentiate. You say Vasishta Kavyakanta Ganapati Muni. Can. Yes. Desikan, all the words, even Guru also. The word Guru also is used in the sense of Rishi.
Somebody, what was the truth they all see?
What is the truth that they seek? Yeah, that's what we will explore. That is what is the whole purpose. Like, what was the truth that they were seeking after? That we need to find out. And one hint we have already given, that the state of Ananda and Amrita. That is what is the ultimate goal, the light, the truth, the harmony, the perfection. This is what they were seeking, the true dynamism. And they used these symbolic words like Go, Ashwa, Soma. These are the symbolic words. That's what you will constantly find in the Vedas. They're asking for Go, asking for Hiranya, gold. They're asking for Ashwa, they're asking for Soma. These are translated into light, truth, knowledge, pure dynamism, and the bright, illumined Dhi.
They are also looking for the signs of creation.
Yeah. Yeah, these questions, like we give a hint about like how that unthinkable can be thought of. Is a question, is a quest. They went on, finding out that how the unseen can be seen, unheard can be heard. The whole quest was to find out answer to this, and then realize, as Sri Aurobindo says, that if I am convinced that God exists, but then that leads me to find out the way that if God exists, I must see Him. Where is He? What is He doing? I must know about everything about God. So that was the seeking. If God is the self-existent truth, so this is what they were seeking after. How to find that self-existent truth.
Sri Aurobindo said that he made Vedic Devas.
Mm-hmm. He realized the Vedic Devata. Okay, so we go for the lunch break with a few seconds of silence.